As we turn our attention back to what should be an unprecedented day in New York City, showing you a live look at Trump Tower this morning. Extra barricades in place, police there prepared for possible protests as former President Donald Trump gets set to head to court just days after a grand jury indicted him on criminal charges.
He arrived in New York yesterday, spent the night at Trump Tower, and plans to return to Mar-a-Lago after today's arraignment. This is a case like we've never seen before, so we expect things to look different, of course, from an average court case.
Senior political reporter Jason Whiteley wakes up early with us this morning to walk us through everything. And Jason, we have talked a lot about this case. We expect the former president to surrender in just a few hours from now.
Yeah, Mark, it's at 1:15 this afternoon, Dallas time, when this happens. Secret Service agents will motorcade him 4 miles south from Trump Tower to the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse. That's downtown, a few blocks from City Hall and from the Brooklyn Bridge, if you are familiar there with Lower Manhattan. Let's go back to this live look here at Trump Tower. Think about it. This is where the Trump campaign started in 2015, and this is where this will unfold today when he goes to surrender. The former president, as Kara said, flew in from Florida, Mar-a-Lago, yesterday afternoon. He is waking up here this morning in New York City. Once he gets downtown, though, to the courthouse, Trump will be booked in. He'll be fingerprinted and photographed and arraigned before a judge, where he will enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. We will not know what the specific charges are against him until they are unsealed in court later this afternoon. They are related, though, to payments to an adult film star named Stormy Daniels to keep quiet about an alleged extramarital affair. This all took place just before the 2016 election. Trump denies that affair and says he is innocent of these charges. Still, this is going to play out in our legal system. Let's bring in Eric Cedillo this morning. He is an attorney in Dallas and San Antonio, a criminal defense attorney, and teaches at SMU. Eric, good morning to you. What will you be looking for when these charges are unsealed today?
Yeah, I think like everybody else, we're looking at the actual counts, what he's being charged with under the indictment. As you had mentioned earlier, it's still under seal, and once it's read by either the court clerk or the judge, we'll get a better determination on where they're headed in terms of this prosecution.
And Eric, one late development yesterday afternoon, Donald Trump added a new lead defense attorney to his team yesterday. What does that suggest at this stage of the game, do you think?
Well, he may be taking the charges a bit more seriously. Up until this point, I think he had someone as more of a talking head in terms of how they proceed. Now he may be looking at someone who can actually assist him with the allegations against him. Again, somebody perhaps a little bit well-versed in terms of criminal law and the actual representation of a defendant in court.
Eric, many people in the country say these charges are politically motivated, but prosecutors do have Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, as their star witness in this case. How challenging might this case be to prove, considering he is providing so much information about inside Trump's orbit?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, of course, will have to do with the credibility of witnesses like Michael Cohen, but I'm sure they have corroborating evidence in terms of documents, other witnesses, otherwise they wouldn't have brought the charges against him. But of course, it is a challenge. It's one in which we know a lot of Michael Cohen. He's been convicted himself, so it's a situation wherein the credibility of Michael Cohen is going to come into play. But again, these are charges that have been several years in the making. So at this point, once the indictment is unsealed and read, we'll have a better understanding of where the prosecution is headed and what evidence they have to kind of support that.
And you can bet, as you mentioned there, that the defense team will be going after the credibility of Michael Cohen. Eric Cedillo, thanks so much for your insight this morning. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Quick reminder here, too, Good Morning America is going to have team coverage on today's historic arraignment this afternoon. That team coverage begins in about a half hour here on WFAA. And look for special coverage this afternoon on air and online just after lunch, 1:15 or so, when this will happen as the former president surrenders on criminal charges.